What is going on, boys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be ranking every brawler based on how fun they are. I actually did this like 6 months ago, but I feel like a lot of my perception has changed on the game, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it again. This time, hopefully it should be a little bit better. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. Starting off first with 8-Bit. 8-Bit is so freaking slow. It is so annoying to play, but I will say when you beam somebody with him, it is so much fun. So I'm going to go with D tier just because I feel like he's not the worst, but he's so slow that it brings him all the way down to the D tier. Next up, we have Amber, and Amber's pretty good, but I don't think she's really that fun to play. You just press a button down, and there's really no skill involved, in my opinion. So I feel like she's not very fun, and I'd probably put her in the D tier, honestly, below 8-Bit. Next, we have Angelo, and Angelo's actually pretty fun to play, in my opinion. He's not the most fun, but I will say, like, he has a very fast movement speed, and I think that's a lot of what makes a brawler really fun to play is when he has a really fast movement speed. And he can beam people as well, so it's kind of fun doing that. Ash, I feel like it really just depends on how good you are with him. Like, if you're a good Ash player, he's probably really fun. I'm not that great with him, so for me, he's probably like middle of the road, probably like C tier. Next, we have Barley. I really don't. Well, I mean, it kind of depends. He's fun sometimes, but he gets countered very easily. I'd probably put him at the bottom of D. He's not quite F. Next, we have B. B can be fun yet really annoying to play because sometimes it just adds up to where you have to hit somebody like an extra shot to kill them because of the math with her shots. So it's just kind of weird, but I will say she is kind of fun to play. Her slow is really good. She's probably B. Next up, we have Belle. And for me, Belle's like S tier. She's so much fun to play. It doesn't really have to do with like her movement speed or anything. I just feel like her mechanics are like really fun. Like you can really hit more shots with her than I think any other sharpshooter. I just feel like it's easier for me to hit shots with Belle. So yeah. Next you have BB, and honestly, she's pretty bad in the meta. But if you're good with her, she's really fun to play. I'd probably put her in the A tier below Angelo. Next we have Bo. I feel like Bo's like really spammy, and there's not like a whole lot of skill that's involved with him. So I don't really think he's that fun to play, in my opinion. So for me, he's probably like D tier, honestly. He's probably like right there. Next, we have Bonnie. I don't really have a lot of fun playing Bonnie. I don't really think anyone really plays Bonnie much anymore. I don't really see many Bonnies. I'd probably put her in the C tier, just because it takes some skill to play her. But yeah. Next up, we have Brock, and I actually enjoy playing Brock. He's a pretty fun brawler to play. His shots are hard to hit, but like when you start hitting them, I feel like when you hit one, you're more likely to hit the second. I don't know why that is, but it just is like it is. He's just fun to play, and especially when you get that super and get like a ton of hits with that, it's super fun. Bull, even though most people don't find him fun, I find him fun to play because I'm not like great with him, but I feel like I'm pretty good. Like I'm ranked 25. Like pre all the like the win streaks and stuff. I was ranked 25 with him. And it actually took skill back then to get any like above like 700. So he's actually pretty fun, especially on like maps that are good for him. I would probably put him in the A tier personally. So yeah. Next you have Buster. I think Buster's like one of the most fun brawlers to play, especially with his pull. He's just so much fun to play. Like when you get a pull in the right time, it's just so much fun. Next you have Buzz. Again, the stun mechanic on Buzz is actually pretty fun. I'd probably put him in the A tier just because of that. Byron, I don't really have a lot of fun playing him just because I don't really play him a whole lot. He's probably one of my least favorite brawlers in the game, both to play and to face. I just don't like him that much. I would probably put him in the D tier because I will say it is kind of satisfying to watch the poison tick up on people, but other than that, it's not that fun. Carl, I will say, is S tier for me. Low key, it's so much fun to play Carl. Like, whenever I play him, I just have a lot of fun using his hook and stuff and getting kills like that. It's just pretty fun. Next, we have Charlie, and Charlie just is kind of like a spammy brawler. You just kind of spam, hit the auto aim, and just spam. So for me, she's F tier. It will say she's pretty good. So like, I guess she's kind of fun to play because she's good. But as far as like her actually being like skillful and like fun to play, she's not very fun to play in my opinion. Next, you have Chester, and Chester's actually kind of fun to play. I think he's probably like B tier, honestly. He's fun. He's not like super fun, but I would pick him. Like if I had a quest with him, I would definitely play it. Versus if I had a quest with like any of the brawlers on the D tier, I'd wait as long as possible. Next we have Chuck. I hate playing Chuck. I just don't find it fun. I feel like his concept was so good, but it's only really usable in Heist and like maybe Hot Zone. Like it's not really like used in any other game mode, and that's why I don't find him fun. Like most brawlers, even tanks, you can almost play in any game mode if you really wanted to. But Chuck, like if you play Chuck in Showdown, you just get destroyed. Like there's no, he's only good in Heist. So yeah. Next we have Colette. And I think Colette's pretty fun to play. I would probably put her in like the B tier. Actually, I'd probably put her at the top of the B tier. She's not like the most fun, but she's pretty fun. Using her super and chaining, that's really fun, and her hypercharge is also very fun as well. So yeah. Next, we have Colt. Colt's really fun to play. Just unloading all that ammo. He's got a pretty fast movement speed with slick boots. And he's a fun brawler to play. Next, we have Cordelius. I think Cordelius is kind of fun. He's probably like A tier. He's fun because the Shadow Realm. It's like a whole different mechanic in the game. But he's nothing like super special about him. I feel like he's just kind of a brawler I'd like to play a lot, just because he's good and partly because the Shadow Realm. Next up, we have Crow. Crow is a fun brawler to play because watching your opponents get poisoned to death is just kind of funny. Daryl, I personally like playing Daryl because I feel like people don't really expect to lose against a Daryl, and they don't expect seeing a good Daryl, and consider myself a pretty good Daryl. So when people, face me and I beat them, it's kind of funny. But as far as like fun to play, I would definitely put him like towards the top of A tier. He's pretty good. Next, you have Doug, and Doug just kind of takes no skill. Like, you can use him like a Jackie, and then I guess the only skill involved is like when to use the hot dog. Because you can use that and then kind of like get like a second life out of it. But that's the only skill involved with him, and for me, it's just not that fun playing him. Next, you have Draco, and or whatever his name is. I haven't actually played him yet just because I haven't been playing the game a ton recently. But he looks really fun to play. I'll just stick him in the A tier because he looks fun to play, but I don't know. Next, you have Dinah. Dinah's definitely S tier, especially if you have the Dinah jump star power. He's just so much fun to play. Dinah jumping across the map and then getting like some cool kill it's pretty cool. It's like a one of a kind thing. Like there's no other brawlers that have that same mechanic. Next, we have Edgar, and I actually do think Edgar's pretty fun to play, just because it's so fun watching people that can't do anything to you when you jump on them. I just think that's hilarious. Next, we have Primo. I don't really have that much fun playing Primo because I feel like he's kind of useless without a super. Like, even Bo can get, like, or not Bo, Bull can get some chip damage, like, if you use his, like, shots correctly. El Primo, it's very hard to get chip damage, so he's only really useful when he has his super. Next, we have Ems. I think she's pretty fun to play. She's probably A tier. Watching people get hit by the poison 4 times because they back up is pretty funny, and I just think she's, like, a very toxic brawler, and I like playing toxic brawlers. Next, we have Eve. And Eve's shots are really slow, but she can walk on water. For me, she's C tier, and really the reason she's not D is just because she can walk over water, and she's one of 2 brawlers in the game that can do that. Next, we have Fang, and I think Fang's pretty fun to play. Dashing between people is really fun. I feel like he's not as strong as he used to be, but he's still kind of fun to play, especially if you're skilled with him. Next, we have Frank. Frank is horrible. I don't even feel like I have to explain this one. He's just not fun to play until you get a team wipe, and then he's like the coolest brawler in the game. But you're not really going to get that many team wipes with him. He's just one of the worst in the game, and there's nothing you can really do about it. Next, you have Gale. Gale's S tier. Watching people get slowed by Gale and like not being able to do anything is one of the most satisfying things in the game. It's just so funny. Like whenever you play a Gale, you get so annoyed. But whenever you are Gale, people don't really use him. But if you do, you know what I'm talking about. He's just a really fun brawler to play. Next up, we have Gene. And I feel like this kind of depends on the person, but for me, he's probably like D tier. He's just not very fun. I've never really played him a whole lot. I don't think I even have him upgraded that high, to be honest. Maybe power 9. I just don't really play him a whole lot. His pull is fun, but he just doesn't have anything other than that that's fun to me. Next, we have Gray, and his teleports are pretty cool. I'd probably put him in the top of the B tier. I like his teleports a lot, but other than that, I feel like it's pretty hard to hit his shots. And his teleports are useful, but I don't know. He's just not that fun. Next up, we have Griff, and Griff's kind of fun to play. I feel like I'm kind of indifferent about him. I don't mind playing him. If I have a quest for him, I'll do it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to play him. Next up, we have Grom, and Grom's kind of fun to play. He's probably towards the top of B, just because seeing your super and throwing it and knowing that someone can't do really anything about it is just kind of funny, but that's really the only reason he's in the B tier. Next up, we have Gus. I don't have a lot of fun playing Gus. I just never really liked him from the start. He doesn't do enough damage, in my opinion, and there's not really any other saving quality with him. He doesn't have a ton of health. He doesn't do really much damage. His movement speed is normal. He just doesn't really have anything that stands out. Next up, we have Hank. Hank's F tier, in my opinion. It's not. I mean, it's kind of fun to play him, but he's so bad that it just doesn't really matter. He's an F tier brawler for me. I think in certain scenarios he can be like an S, not an S, I mean an A or a B. But like for the most part, on 99% of the maps in the game, the dude's F tier. Next up we have Jackie, all obviously an F for me. Next up we have Jeanette. I don't really like to play her that much. I just feel like her mechanic when it first came out was kind of cool, like her flying ability. But now it's just like kind of like watered down. There's a lot of other cool abilities in the game that kind of overshadow that. Next up, we have Jesse, and I will say there's nothing more satisfying than when a Jesse shot hits and bounces and hits another person. I just think that's the coolest thing in the world, and I actually love playing her. So yeah, next up we have Kit. Obviously, everyone knows where this is going. Straight to the S tier. It just depends on like obviously if he's unbalanced or not, if he's horrible or good. Right now he's really good and he's all over the place. But back when he was really bad, I feel like he was still kind of fun to play. Just jumping on people when they didn't expect it is just hilarious. Next up, we have the or Larry and Laurie. They're pretty fun to play, in my opinion, just because you never know what Laurie's going to do. I think he's fun. Leon, I actually think he's really fun, too, to be honest with you. Like, Leon is just one of those brawlers that will always be fun to play. Even though his mechanics are kind of basic, he's just fun to play. Next up, we have Lily, and her only really saving grace is her super. Her super's really fun, but her basic kit and everything isn't really that fun. Next up we have Lola. I don't really find any fun playing Lola. She's just basically the same thing. And her super, people just throw it at their feet. There's no real like skill involved. You just aim, I guess, and shoot. So next up we have Lou. Lou is S tier. Freezing people in Lou's storm is just the funniest thing ever. And watching people like go around in circles and then never get out is just hilarious. Maisie, depends on how good she is. If she's like a really good brawler in the meta, she's definitely fun. But if not, then she's not. It just kind of depends on how good she is. Next up, we have Mandy, and for me, she's an S tier brawler. I really like playing Mandy. She's my favorite brawler in the game, and I just think it's really fun when you chain supers and hit people. That's my favorite thing in the game. Next up, we have Max, and I actually think Max is pretty fun. She's definitely not like my favorite brawler to play, but her movement speed is fun, and I feel like she's really good in Brawl Ball. Next up, we have Meg, and Meg's just kind of mid for me. There's nothing really that stands out about her. Melody is definitely S tier. In fact, all three of these brawlers right here are all S tier. Melody's S tier just because she has some unique mechanics, and her super is one of the most fun in the game. Miko, because he's so OP, like it's not even funny how good he is. It's ridiculous. Even though he may be like D tier or C tier, on certain maps, and especially when he starts jumping on you, you're pretty much screwed. Like there's nothing you can do about it. And then obviously Mortis is going to be S tier for me. He's one of my favorite brawlers in the game. I'm actually pretty good with him too. Anyway, moving on. Mr. P, I will say hitting a double shot with Mr. P, hitting somebody twice is pretty fun, and his supporters are pretty fun because they're annoying. So I'll put him in the A tier. Next up, we have Nanny. I feel like Nanny's kind of mid. There's nothing really super fun about Nanny, and there's nothing really not fun about him, or her, whatever. Next up, we have Nita. I just don't find Nita very fun. Her mechanics are very basic. Otis, I never found Otis fun at all. I never really played him. He's probably like rank 10 for me. I just don't like him. Same sort of thing with Pam. I just don't really play Pam a whole lot. I do like Pearl, but I think she's pretty lame. She's probably like C tier. Penny, I never really enjoyed playing her. Piper is really fun to play because it just feels like cheating when you're playing her, honestly. Like, 2 shots and pretty much any brawler in the game is dead. And then you have that homemade recipe where it literally just homes in on people. It's unbelievable how broken she is. Pogo, I feel like is low-key kind of fun to play just because when you heal yourself and like you kill somebody that didn't expect to die, it's just kind of funny because you know their reaction on the other side of the screen. Like they're raging because that's what I do when I die against a Poco. So it's just kind of funny. I actually think RT's kind of fun to play. He's definitely not like the most fun brawler in the game to play, but he's definitely up there. Rico, definitely S tier. I like playing him. I feel like people get so frustrated when they play Ricos, and that's what makes some brawlers fun like that. Okay, next up we have Rosa. I just don't like Rosa that much. I don't really think it's that fun to play her. She doesn't really have anything unique other than her super, and I don't know. It just feels old. Next up we have Ruffs. I feel like Ruffs is kind of fun to play. There's nothing that's like really fun about him, but he is a kind of a fun brawler. Sam, it just depends on how good you are with him. For me, it's A. Sandy, definitely S tier with the invisibility super. It's just so much fun. Shelly, it depends on the person, so I'm just going to say C tier for her. And then next up we have Spike. probably S tier just because it's so much fun to play them and watch your curveball hit people. It's just like, bro, there's nothing they can do about it. Like, there's no skill involved. Like, you can dodge curveball sometimes, but most of the time it's luck and not skill. So, Sprout, I never really liked playing Sprout, to be honest. Squeak, he's kind of fun, but there's nothing really like cool about him. Like, it's kind of hard to hit your shots with him too. So, Stu is definitely S tier. Surge is definitely S tier, just because Stu has one of the most unique supers in the game, and Surge is one of my favorite brawlers in the game, and I feel like I'm really good with him, and he also has a really good super, so he's pretty fun. Tara is probably like a C tier. Her super's fun, but her like main build isn't really that fun. And then Tick, I hate him honestly. Even though some people like have fun playing him, I don't because it's just kind of dumb. I feel like he really shouldn't even be in the game. Next we have Willow, or I guess last we have Willow, and to me she's like average. She's probably like C tier. There's nothing really fun about her other than her super. Actually, I'll move her up to the B tier because of her super. It's pretty fun. So anyway, that's the full tier list. Thank you guys for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Check out the Swift merch, low key, bro. This is clean. This is fire. I just redid my website. If you go in the description, you'll see it for my merch. It's actually really cool. If you guys want to go check that out and leave feedback, I would really appreciate it on some of the designs and everything. But yeah, I just redid it. So we have like a hat now and all this other stuff. And there's also channel memberships. So there's kind of a lot going on right now. So if you watch this far in the video, you know, go take a look at the channel memberships. It's only like $2 a month. And there's some pretty cool stuff in it. So yeah, anyway, thank you guys for watching, and peace out, homies.